Area V5 is part of the dorsal stream of processing. Again, to recap, retina to LGN, LGN to V1, V1 dorsal stream, ventral stream, and V5 is in this dorsal stream. To get a little bit of approximate anatomical context, this is our schema of the brain, cerebellum, spinal cord. V1 is here, V4 is here, and V5 is roughly somewhere up here. So what's special about V5? What are its characteristics? The main one is that V5 appears to be specialised for motion. So if you record from cells in V5, they have a direction preference. Most of them prefer to have a line or an object moving in a particular direction, which will cause a big response, whereas moving in a different direction would cause a much less vigorous response. So you can present that as a vector of preference of motion, kind of like this. You get some cells that even like the motion to be coming out in a radial direction, so like dots exploding from a point. So that's what's special about V5. How does that differ, though, from the motion sensitivity that we saw in V1? Well, let me give you an example of that with this illustration I'm about to show you. Which direction do you think these stripes are going when I play this little graphic? You see the trick? Let me play that again. Before you saw the context, before you saw what the black mask was hiding, it's almost impossible not to see the stripes going in a diagonal direction from the bottom left to the top right. And that's what V1 sees. But V5 is able to take the broader context. And of course, if I were to take away this mask altogether, there would be no illusion. You would simply see the stripes moving from left to right. So the illustration here is that if you imagine that you're a V1 cell, you would be looking at this area in the middle, and you can't see outside your receptive field. You just see motion within your receptive field. And so naturally, cells which are sensitive to motion from the bottom left to the top right will fire. And that will happen, of course, even without the mask, because the mask is just to illustrate the relative blindness of the V1 neurons. V5 neurons get information from lots of V1 neurons and use that collective information to find out what's really going on. V5 is of particular interest in studies of decision making, where the task is to decide which direction dots are going in, and V5 is accumulating evidence for that.